NC, 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 yes sirree. NC, 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 yes sirree. NC, 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 yes sirree. NC, NC, NC.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the NCast, also known as the NC Podcast. Name is a work in progress. We'll figure it out eventually. My name is Saxon. Yes, it's a weird name. Yes, I like it too. Thank you.
My name is Walt. I'm here, and I'm ready to talk.
You're here, you're engaged.
And I'm here, I'm Decker. What's up?
Just Decker.
Apparently,
You're just going by Decker
as
now?
people were referring to me last time, so
Okay.
I'm like, I'm
No,
Decker now.
that's fine.
I remember
call
you as
Decker
Decker.
anyways.
Everyone does, for
All
some
right.
reason.
Well, what we're talking about this week on the stream is just general topic Nintendo. The Nintendo Switch reveal came out this most recent week, and we're going to be focusing a lot on that because there is, admittedly, a lot of stuff to talk about during it. There's some goofy shit that Nintendo's doing that I don't know if I necessarily agree with, but that's the whole point of the conversation. So, if anyone would like to kick us off.
Yeah, I'll start off. I am basically a lifelong Nintendo fanboy. I own every single Nintendo system.
Let's get that out of the way ahead, actually.
Yes.
We are all lifelong Nintendo fanboys. Nintendo, we love you. If you want to sponsor us,
Yes,
please.
give us all your money. Miyamoto, please.
Miyamoto.
Please kiss my forehead and bless me. I'm probably going to say right now, I'm fairly biased, but I'll try and be as objective as possible towards the Switch. I think that the Switch is going to be a major upgrade from the Wii U. I just think that it's going to be better.
Well, and in terms of that as well, the Wii U was such kind of like a wet fart, if you want to call it that. When it came out, there weren't any games that came out with it. The main reason that people bought it was Splatoon and Smash 4. And really nothing else ever even happened on the Wii U. We didn't get a Zelda game. We didn't get any real main series Mario games. We didn't get anything beneficial out of that. So I'm really hoping the Switch right off the bat is just going to be a market improvement from there.
yeah.
I think that the main issue with the Wii U was the lack of third-party support. No one wanted to make anything that would include that second screen, and everything was all of the systems had more power compared to the Wii U. So when it comes to that, the Switch kind of beats the Wii U in all of those. I mean, as much as everyone hates the Wii U, it's still not their worst. It's still not Nintendo's worst selling system. But everyone loves the GameCube. But that was
It's the worst, yeah.
yeah.
It was
it's
the worst
still
selling,
their
yeah.
worst selling. Like, I think that the Wii U only just broke that record.
That wouldn't surprise me, because, I mean, really what I had been reading was that a lot of people, like a lot of parents buying shit for their kids, didn't even realize the Wii U was a different system. They just thought it was an add-on for the Wii. Like how the Wii Motion Plus things, the Wii U, people were just like, oh, what's the point of buying this? It's just the same thing as the Wii. And, I mean, when you break it down, it really was, because there wasn't anything on the Wii U. But that's not really the point here. Well, the point is that the GameCube was the best system Nintendo ever created.
Yeah.
Although, of course, it just kind of failed because of the whole PS2 is arguably like one of the biggest consoles in like gaming history, and then
Yeah,
Xbox
PS2
was just
definitely
coming
won.
Yeah,
out.
they stopped production of the PS2, like making new PS2s. I think in like 2014.
It was
Yeah, it
very
was crazy,
recently.
yeah.
It was something because of Brazil. Like Brazil couldn't get imports without massive taxes on the newest games. Maybe Portugal. It was a South American country, but
Portugal
they
is
kept.
not a South American country.
Okay, I went to an American high school, so I don't know my geography very well.
All right.
Anyways, there was some South American country that kept the PS2 afloat because they were buying the FIFA games every single year. Because regular, like,
Believe
PS3,
it?
I'm not even kidding, PS3 and PS4 games were so fucking expensive to get a hold of that they alone kept the PS2 in production just so they could constantly be buying the FIFA games every single time it came out because they were the cheapest games that they could buy at the time.
That's so fucking funny.
It's nonsense. I mean, the video game industry by itself is nonsense, but we're talking about the Switch, and we don't need to go into the global geopolitics of why the PS2 only just ended its production.
Yeah. But in that vein, when it comes to like between Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation 4, with the Switch, I think Nintendo is kind of kind of carved out their own niche. I don't think they're even attempting to be in the same market. I mean, they're technically in the same market, but they have their own niche part of that market that I don't think that either PlayStation or Xbox can get into without it being not very good.
Yeah, Nintendo's very much kind of gotten to that point in the industry as a whole. Nobody goes to Nintendo for the hardcore games anymore, and that's mostly what we bitched about when the Wii came out, is that they weren't really servicing hardcore gamers any longer. It became a very much casual system, and Nintendo really went full force with that. That's their whole thing now. It's not going to be, cross-compatible with other systems. They do their games, and they do their games very well. And if that business model is going to work out for Nintendo, more power to them.
Yeah, and I'll agree with that. I was pretty much defending that last week of, honestly, I think they made the right choice with the Wii of going to that Wii bowling, all the other Wii Sports and stuff, which is silly of a game as that was and all that stuff.
By the way, Wii Sports is still the best-selling game of all time.
Oh,
Is it really?
Yes,
I had
'cause
so
it
much
came with
fun
every
with that
Wii
game with
system.
my family. Like, I got my grandparents and we were playing Wii bowling for years with that shit. That was so much fun.
I remember reading somewhere about a guy who had over 9,000 perfect games in Wii bowling. That was what he was doing with his retirement. It was like an 80-year-old dude. And his retirement was playing perfect games of Wii bowling. He has the Guinness World Record right now for it.
Wow. That's awesome. When it comes to the hardcore gaming, I think that the main thing holding Nintendo back was Iwata, their past president, because he very much was like what Nintendo was.
Yeah, he was the driving creative force behind Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, he was like one of the main dudes that worked on Earthbound, and then he worked his way up and he became the president. But like under him, it very much was focused towards keeping the games like available for everyone to be able to play, from children to adults. But when it comes to making games that both children and adults can play, it's kind of hard to make them not hard or make them hardcore.
That's true, and I think that was really Iwata's design philosophy the whole time. Was he just wanted to make fun games. It wasn't, I'm going to make a really edgy game for the mature crowd. It was just, I'm going to make a fun game.
There's no meta. There's no meta.
Yeah, there was no kind of, I guess, meta industry marketing or anything
Right.
that going along with that. He was a very, I guess, a pure thought person. I don't really know how to describe it. He was very dedicated to making fun games. It was the Mario, everything on the SNES, Chrono Trigger, all of those. It was all just this main philosophy of, we're going to make games for people to sit down and have fun with their brother or their sister or whoever else is in the house in front of the TV for 6 hours. Yeah,
and I think that they're still going to stick to that philosophy. I mean, if you've seen any of the mini games, like they have one that's a quick draw, or one that's like eating sandwiches on the Switch.
Did you see where like the guys like milking the cow?
I haven't seen that one. But I think that they're going to stick to that philosophy to a fairly large degree. But I do think with this new president, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's very market oriented.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's going to take it in a direction that might not be like Nintendo as we know it right now, but I think it will be like more available to. I mean, Nintendo's been available to everyone, but I feel like it'll be like gearing towards the Nintendo fans that are aging.
Yeah, not necessarily like the Nintendo of old that we kind of grew to love, but one that's more marketable to the general population. Yeah,
but while also keeping that kind of that core philosophy that made Nintendo the company it is now to begin with.
Of course, yeah.
They're still trying to make fun games, but they are also trying to make money.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you can't fault them for that.
No, you can't really. I do think, I think we should talk about the games that are coming out on the Switch first, or second.
Well, there's really only a game right now. We only have one that's confirmed.
There's 3 that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh,
there's
I thought it was just Zelda that's on launch.
Oh no. Zelda's on launch. Oh, on launch. I think Zelda's on launch. Isn't the Splatoon 2 on launch?
I'll have to check, actually. I didn't think Splatoon 2
Yeah,
was
do some
good for
fact-checking
launch.
for us right now.
Yeah, no, real quick political fact-checking during this
intense
debate.
But I know that I'm like fairly certain the Mario Kart, the new Mario Kart that has all the new characters in it, is going to be launch, and then the party games and everything. Which I don't know if that's a separate game or if that's a WarioWare. I don't know.
I don't think there's a WarioWare yet.
I want a WarioWare for
It
the
would be
Switch.
so much fun, but I don't think there's one confirmed yet.
Okay, so Splatoon 2 will arrive in summer 2007, but
Okay.
it won't be for launch. Though on that note, with the party games, oh my god, the controllers are so expensive.
Yes, they are.
$40 for that stupid little.
No.
It's just one of those little doodads.
Not $40. $49.99.
$49.99.
But if you buy two of them, it's $80.
80, 79, yeah.
Yeah, $79.99.
But
$80.
those stupid little plastic dongles, like they're a quarter of the size the Wii U remotes were.
Yeah,
And it's $50 for a single one.
yeah. I'm kind of skeptical of that. I don't know. I mean, I love the Switch controllers, but
That's a little
the price point is pretty high.
Well, and I gotta say, I'm immediately pretty skeptical. As soon as they showed that game where they were using it for motion controls, that boxing game, I'm just immediately having flashbacks to the original Wii and just how trash the motion controls were.
Ooh, those were bad, yeah.
Because do you remember Red Steel was a launch title for the Wii?
I remember. I know what that is. I was going to buy it, but I never bought it.
It had the worst motion controls of any game to date, I believe. I mean, obviously...
Skyward Sword. I'm sorry.
Well, Skyward Sword didn't even work with the Wiimote Plus, did it? You had to have the Wiimote Plus to play it, and it was still bad.
Yeah, I remember playing that game, and it was so hard. I mean, some people can just go through it and they whip through it, but I think that has got to be the smallest minority of people, because I sat through hours and hours of gameplay. I've beaten damn near every Zelda game in the series, but Skyward Sword, I got to, I think, the 4th temple, and I said, fuck it. I didn't even get to the 4th temple. I got to right before the 4th temple when you first meet the Zoras. And I was like, these seahorse people, fuck this. I'm tired of this. I can't hit any of the enemies. I'm tired of this beetle thing that you have to fly through the air. I'm done with it.
That was my thing as well. I played Skyward Sword for maybe an hour total at a friend's house. I never even bought it. I played it for an hour and I just, no, this game is not for me. It unnecessarily shoehorned in the shitty motion controls. If they were good motion controls, shoehorning them in would have been fine. Mm-hmm. But the fact that the Wii from start to finish had bad motion controls, and that was the whole selling point of the console, made it so I couldn't even play Skyward Sword.
To be fair, no one has had good motion controls up to that. I mean, up until like the VR, like Oculus and HTC Vive, nobody's had good motion controls.
It will be cool to see how they incorporate that into better games, but that's...
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that the motion controls, because they have the IR thing that detects like distance and rotation and everything. So hopefully, it's like a step above the Wii U Motion Plus, because because that was pretty good. Like you could rotate your wrist, and they do the exact same rotation of your wrist in real time.
Except for when it matters.
Except for when it fucking matters. I mean, like, what was one of those games that like came with the Wii U, like the little festival land?
Oh god, I don't even remember now.
Oh man, I might have to look.
The Wii U, so
I might have to look into my little game cabinet right here.
Yeah, because when I bought my Wii U, it came with Wii Sports, and then I bought Red Steel along with it. Because it was the launch title, was the one that's supposed to be like, look how fucking cool our motion controls are.
Is it? Okay.
And they were very bad.
Yeah, I don't see it in that one, but it was like people will know what I'm talking about. It's like the one with all the festival. It has like a little like carnival-esque.
Oh, there was a carnival game.
No. It had like it's Nintendo Land. That's the name of the fucking game. It's fucking
That wasn't
Nintendo.
a launch title though. That came.
Was
out,
it not?
No, that was a Wii U game.
Oh, I thought that was a
That might
launch
have been
title.
a Wii U launch title.
Oh shit. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like there's a Zelda game on there, and one person, like you can have two people play, and the person with the Wii U pad, that one was awesome because you're the bow and you're like, oh man, yeah, I can see him exactly, pop motherfucker, and then like you're the sword, you're like, oh god, I can't. No, they're blocking top right. Let me try and hit them from below. It's not working for me. It's just not working for me.
And it was that same shit in Skyward Sword. Like, oh, you have to attack this enemy, but you can only attack him perfectly bottom left to top upright in a diagonal.
It was garbage. It made me so mad. I would spend like 3 minutes. I mean, that doesn't sound like long, but for a trash mob, 3 minutes is much too long.
No, just like a regular ad in a Zelda game, that's like a one-hit, you're dead kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, even Dark Souls, like, their trash mobs will take 2 or 3 hits, but you get through that shit in like 20 seconds max.
Mm-hmm.
If you're decent.
If you're not trash. Yeah.
If you're not trash. But like, my God, like the bokoblins, like they would like, oh, I'm gonna block on the top. I'm like, well, that's my one mode of attack. I'm just gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to wait for you to block to the side so I can hit you in the head.
I'm gonna block on the top. Well, shit.
Yeah, because I can't swipe. Like, if it's not a perfect like top to bottom or left to right swipe, I can't hit you.
You're done. You're just gonna chill out for a couple of minutes. Take some time, check Tinder until that guy finally fucking switches and checks from the other side.
Oh, this girl has a beautiful face. Swipe right. Oh, 1 second.
I can
this guy,
attack.
I can attack real quick. I'll be right back.
Swipe right, boy. I wish I could do that on the Wii.
Yeah. So hopefully in the Switch they can address the issues, but hopefully they don't have any games like that.
No, what this boils down to is hopefully the Switch has motion controls that aren't bad. Even if they're mediocre, even if they're okay and they work 80% of the time, that's better than what the Wii had.
Yeah,
where it
for
worked 5% of the time.
Yeah. Also, if they just don't have games that require the motion controls in that kind of context where it's like, oh god, I have to kill this guy super quick, gotta kill him, this is very important, I kill him quick so I can just move on. Then other than that, bad motion controls sometimes are kind of funny,
Yeah, but it'd be fantastic to see like the new Zelda or the Skyrim when they bring that into it, to have those games have very fluid motion controls. That would be a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, no, Skyrim with like proper motion controls, I'd never stop playing it.
Oh, for sure.
Because the first person perspective of Skyrim is kind of weird to begin with the way that you swing your arms, because you can't see your body, you can't actually see your arms, so it's just kind of awkward with you flailing the swords.
Yeah.
But to actually be able to flail your swords,
yeah, that would be cool.
Is going to be the best.
Or else to like cast magic with your motion controls, that would be dope.
Oh man, I remember it was the Fable game for the Kinect. Has anyone else ever played that? Because
I have not.
I got on a really big Fable kick. I beat the first 3 games all in a row, and I was super excited. I was like, look, there's another one. It's on the Kinect. Let me try that shit. But you have to do like certain hand motions to cast certain spells. And let me tell you something. It would not work at all.
I don't own any... Well, that's a lie. I own, I think, all of the Fable games. I've never played one. I have, I think it's Fable Generations on Steam, and I've got a couple of them for the PS4, and I've got a couple more on Steam, but I've never touched one. I never got around to doing it. I heard they're fun games.
I love Fable. That's one of my favorite franchises.
It's just one of those things that's been cluttering up my Steam library forever, and I'm probably never ever going to get around to playing it, because holy shit, I have like 600 games in my Steam library.
I think I have 120.
That and probably 550 of them, I'm just not going to touch anytime in the next 10 years.
Thanks, Steam sales.
Yeah.
Really though, thank you Humble Bundle, and thank you Steam sales.
All right, but back on topic. When the games that come out on the Switch, the one that people are most excited about is probably Breath of the Wild.
Not even a question.
Oh.
Not without question. I've been following that game for 4 years. I've been following every time Nintendo makes a patent on something. That's we watched a short little video on the Switch before we started, and they said the vibration can tell you you can feel that there's 2 ice cubes in this cup. I remember when they first made the patent for that, everyone was freaking out, oh, there's a new haptic feedback system. You can tell what the leaves on a tree feel like. And I was super confused, but now I see what they're doing.
Well, so I have a great amount of skepticism for that, because I remember when Apple introduced haptic feedback on the new iPhones, and then it ended up being just nothing. Right. It was there are slightly varying degrees of vibration fantastic. That's the best thing. And that's Apple doing it, the guys who spend years and years and millions of dollars developing each new phone, and the phones cost $1,000 to begin with. I have a feeling Nintendo's not going to be able to do it quite that well, especially in a $300 system.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's always tried to keep their prices down so that, like, kids can, like, families can afford them, people can buy them. I knew from the beginning it wasn't going to be the $500 price point of the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. I knew that from the beginning, which is good for me because I can maybe afford the Switch. But yeah, I mean, the hardware is never going to be as good as a $500 system, but it will. But it's kind of like the big battle between Sega and Nintendo in the '90s. Sega was like,
we could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, we could. But Sega was just like, oh man, Sega does what Nintendo don't, right? Like that was.
I just remembered that for the first time in like literally 20 years.
That was one of their slogans, and like, okay, yeah, they could do like they went to 32-bit, but Nintendo had like objectively better games on the 16-bit systems than they had on their 32-bit systems, and then they were just like, you know what? Fuck 32-bit, we're going straight to 64-bit, and we're going to make better games than you could ever dream to make.
And that's been the thing that Nintendo's always been really, really good at, is maxing out the hardware because they know how to make games for their hardware.
Yes.
More than anywhere else. Like, you remember Super Mario Sunshine?
Oh,
yes. That was a beautiful game on the GameCube's hardware.
That's a game I could see on the Wii and be like, that
looks
bad.
good. Like, I can't think of any other game that looked that well polished and looked that good, even though it had a cartoony, not cel shaded, but a kind of a toned down graphical style. The game was beautiful. In 2006 speak, when the GameCube was out and that was the competition. Nintendo's always made beautiful games for their systems. They know how to use their hardware really effectively.
Yeah, sure, you can excuse that for it being the cartoony, but even still, I could play that game now and not think it's that bad.
I've been wanting to go back and play Super Mario Sunshine again because even then it was still also a fun as hell game.
Yeah, and I mean that was when they've really got down the 3D platformer thing. And a lot of people have been saying with the game that's coming out on the Switch, Mario Odyssey. What was it you were calling it?
Super Mario GTA.
Yeah. It's kind of going back to those Super Mario Sunshine roots that kind of in. I mean, as much as I like Super Mario Galaxy, that game kind of like messed with my mind with like how like I'm gonna run around this world real quick. It kind of goes back to the Sunshine roots, and I'm excited for that game. I'm not a super big Mario fanboy, but like I really am excited for the first time in a long time. I'm excited for a Mario game.
Excited for a Mario game, exactly. Like, ever since, I think it was Super Mario Galaxy 2 was the last one they really had that particular mindset with, where it was a Mario game, but it was also a fully fleshed game with its own theme, with its own mechanics, and everything was great. After that, they did, like, the Super Mario 3D Land, which was, okay, we're going to take Mario 3 and we're going to turn it 3D and it'll be fun, I guess, but it didn't have the same...
Fun.
It was fun. It was a fun game.
It wasn't challenging, like you'll find like Mario Sunshine or anything.
It wasn't the same kind of experience as Mario Sunshine or Galaxy 2, where they were fully fleshed out games. Yeah. They had a very good story. They had a very good environment. Everything about them was just top notch. Like, those are some of the only games that I consider 10 out of 10s. Yeah. Because Nintendo fucking knows how to make games for their own system.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo has the highest rated game of all time. Ocarina of Time has the highest rating of all time, and then I think right below, it has a 9.9 overall, like an average, and then I think the second highest rated game is Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, and just kind of go back to like the fact that you were talking about how all of these games have this fleshed out storyline, and then just looking at the new one, the Super Mario GTA, as you called it, we can almost kind of going back to earlier when we were talking about how it's kind of been this paradigm shift that Nintendo's had, where it's trying to become a more like well-rounded, adapted to everyone. Like you can see that within this new Super Mario game, the new Legend of Zelda game, of these being very, Okay, just of the fact that it's everyone can enjoy, as opposed to just being kind of more of the younger person fan base. Yeah.
And that really is the statement of it. I mean, what it boils down to is Nintendo knows how to make good games. I'm confident that the games that come out for the Switch are going to be fantastic. But really with that, it's going to be a matter of time can tell. However, what we really can get real fucking excited for is the new Zelda game.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Breath of the Wild that we're all excited for.
Oh my god,
and-
words can't even describe it.
Yeah, so stick with us, and we'll be right back. All right, and welcome back to the NC podcast. We're going to
Or the
continue.
NCast name is still
Yeah,
name's
the
still being
NCast,
debated.
debating in the name, but we're going to continue on with our discussion about Nintendo and the Switch and gaming in general, with Zelda Breath in the Wild.
Oh my god.
And
So good.
I really want to hear you guys' opinions on it really quick, because I have very strong opinions on Zelda in general, because that's my franchise. Like, I've played damn near every game, and I think the only two games I haven't played are Oracle of Seasons and Time.
Yeah, actually, I didn't play either.
I owned Oracle of Seasons for a bit, but I was really young and I lost
just
it.
never got to it.
So-
But yeah, there's something I've been wanting to say since we watched the trailer before we started this podcast.
Hit me.
And it is, I think Nintendo has really nailed the combination of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker that they were shooting for with Skyward Sword.
Wow,
but
that's
hugely
a
fucked
really
up.
good. That's a
Yeah.
really good
I've-
observation.
Since we watched that trailer, I've been wanting to say it, but I knew I should say it on the podcast instead of our pre-podcast bullshit session.
Yeah, wow, that's a really good observation.
Because
That's really
from,
cool.
From what we've seen there, it looks like the exploration, the environmental, the aesthetic of Wind Waker, but the darker, grittier, more, I guess, story-driven tone of Twilight Princess or
Yes.
Ocarina of Time, the really, the heavy games, the heavy
Yeah.
Zelda games. And I really fucking hope they nail it, because, oh my god, this game looks so good. I cannot wait. I'm buying a Switch day one just so I can play it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't played many of the Zelda games. Let's see, the first game I played was Four Swords.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was me and a bunch of friends played that in like grade school, and then after that I went back and played Ocarina of Time.
And it just blew your fucking mind.
Yeah, because you have to play that
Yeah.
game to consider yourself a Zelda fan.
Yeah.
And then whatever the one for the DS, what that was in the Wind Waker series, like the sequel to Wind Waker. I forget what it was called.
Oh, there was the Phantom Train.
That-
I think is
no,
it
no, no.
was. Yeah.
There's,
Phantom Hourglass. That was
Phantom
it.
Hourglass, and then Spirit Tracks.
The
Yeah.
Phantom Train.
Phantom
Uh,
Hourglass is the one I played. I never actually finished that one, but
Spirit
it was
Tracks is
fun.
the one that we don't talk about as Zelda fans.
Yeah,
But,
I saw
um,
that game come out, and then I never ever heard anything about it ever again. So I
Because
figured I
it
should
wasn't
stay away
all
from
that
it.
great. Because you're on your Link on a choo-choo train. That's the game. Oh look, we have a train, and we're gonna go on it.
Guys, look, we found a train.
I've played that one. I haven't beaten it. I used to be able to say that I've beaten every Zelda game, but now with the release of more games on the handhelds and everything, I've beaten a lot of the Zelda games, but no longer can I say I've beaten almost all of them.
Though, if we're gonna be talking about the handheld Zelda games, A Link Between Worlds was amazing. On the
Yeah.
3DS, the sequel to A Link in
I've
A Link
heard
Between-
really great things
or A
about.
Link
I've seen
Between Worlds.
gameplay.
It was fantastic. It they did a really weird thing with it where you didn't do the dungeons in sequential order, where you instead had access to every dungeon right off the bat, and you can do them in whatever order you liked.
You mean the good way?
Yeah.
You mean the way that you? I mean, you can do. I think you can in Link to the Past. You can do them. It's the same way. I think the first one that really did that was Ocarina of Time, because because the first Zelda, original Zelda, you can go you can find a dungeon and you can go. I think there's several of them that you can beat
Yeah,
before
the
beating
original
the first
Zelda
one.
on the NES, yes, but Ocarina of Time, I wouldn't agree with that because everything's segmented out by what you've gotten so far. You do the original 3 dungeons to get the keystones, and then
Right.
you unlock the ability to travel back and forth, and then you get the 6 kind of the main dungeons,
Right.
I guess. But you couldn't even access all of those immediately. You had to get, what was it, the Iron Boots from one of the other temples.
Oh no, that's
before
what
you
I'm
could go to
saying.
the
That's what
water
I'm saying.
temple.
Like
But you had to get an item from one temple before you could go to the next temple.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
I thought you were saying you could do them in any order.
Oh,
liked.
no.
No, okay.
Link
We're
to
on
the
same-
Past,
Yeah.
up to Link to the Past was when it was, in my opinion, I really like it to where like it's really an adventure. You're really going anywhere you want, and it looks like that's where they're going with the Breath of the Wild. And I feel like someone from Nintendo said that, confirmed that, which I will be 100% a part of, because I don't like being railroaded in games unless it's just heavily story driven. Like,
Agreed,
this
yeah.
is like in a game like Mass Effect, it's like this is what is happening in the story, right? Like you've made decisions that will affect this, but like this is the sequence of the story. You do this, then this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Things will vary depending on what you chose. But like in a Zelda game where like the ultimate goal is just to get to the ultimate enemy, you can do any of these dungeons, right? Like I've almost beaten the original Zelda. Someone deleted my save file because I told them do the soft reset, press the reset button, and then the power, and they just turned the power on and off like twice. I was like, what the fuck? And then my file
done.
was gone.
That's kind of similar to what happened with me with Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I still haven't beaten Majora's Mask yet because I've told this story to these guys, but of course our lovely podcast viewers haven't heard it. When I was a kid, I was playing Majora's Mask, and I was on a stretch. I was in like the second and a half day, somewhere in there. I had maybe 12 hours to go before I had to do the time reset thing. And I was in the water temple, and my mom called us out for dinner, and I paused the game and set the controller down. And I guess my cat walked on the controller or something, because when I got back, the time had cycled back. I lost all the progress from 6 hours earlier, and I just never fucking touched the game again.
Damn.
That is heartbreaking. Holy shit.
Never touched the game again. I still haven't gone back to beat it, because even as a kid, I was just like, I don't want to redo this 6+ hours of shit I already did to get up here. And even looking back on it right this second, I don't want to do that section again to get back up to it. Because the Garuda section up to the water temple is the worst part of that game.
Yeah. Majora's Mask is arguably one of the hardest games in the franchise. I'm really looking forward to Breath of the Wild because it doesn't seem like it's going to be like, oh, you have to do it in this order because if you have to do something in an order, then you know, like, this section's coming up, and I fucking hate that shit. Like, Ocarina of Time. Oh, here's the water temple.
Well,
God damn it. Right? I'm just excited for that.
Yeah, and I definitely have to agree. Like, as I said before, I'm not a huge Legend of Zelda fan, as much as I've liked the games I've played. But, as I was saying again before our podcast, I was looking at it, and like, there's the other game, Skyrim's coming out for the Switch. I'm like, honestly, I love Skyrim. I played it for hundreds of hours on the PC, but I don't know why I would buy it for the Switch, even though it would probably be just as good, if not better, because of the fact that this new Legend of Zelda game looks so good. You've got the whole, at least appears to be open world, and it's just going to be great for that.
And that's kind of what it seems like they're trying to do with this one, is it almost seems like a world in the same vein as Skyrim or Witcher, maybe.
Yeah.
Where
I
you
have a
have
Witcher feel for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely a Witcher feel. Where you have very clearly defined quest points, but 3 miles to walk through before you get there, and who the hell knows what's going to happen in the middle. You will find 6 branching side quests, you'll find 4 things to go do somewhere else, you'll find another story quest on the other side of the map. I'm really fucking excited for this, because it seems like, honestly, it seems like the Zelda game that I've wanted as long as I can think of.
Yeah. I have to say, like, I mean, I've said, I feel like I said earlier that, like, Zelda is really the game for me. Like, it's the game that defined my childhood. Like, adventure is just, like, my thing, because I really love that feeling of, like, what's coming next. The first game I remember playing was Ocarina of Time, because that was released the year after I was born, and then, so, yeah, it was released in 96.
You're a young one.
Yeah.
You are a young one.
Yeah, I was born in 95. I believe it was released in 96. But
I'm fact-checking you real quick.
all right. It was either 95 or 96. But
1998.
was it 98?
Get fact-checked,
Oh,
bitch.
shit, man.
Anyways, I'm actually in the same boat. Ocarina of Time was the first game I remember playing as a kid.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for this new one, because I mean, the first thing that, like, initially I was taken aback by the most recent
The trailer.
the trailer that was on the 3rd, I think, of this year. They had voice acting, and like when the Deku Tree started talking, at first I was like, "Oh, these motherfuckers, fucking ruining the fucking paradigm of the fucking game."
How dare you
How
put
fucking dare
voices
you?
in my
But
Zelda
then, like,
game?
the more people that talked, like, I'm pretty sure it was oh fuck, what's her name? The main Sheikah lady.
Sheik?
No.
Are you sure? Because her name's
no.
Sheik.
Yeah, no. She is not the main Sheikah lady. It's oh damn it.
In Ocarina?
Yeah, no, the lady that was protecting Zelda.
Oh,
Impa.
okay.
It was Impa.
Yes.
I'm almost certain that it was Impa doing the little narration. And at first I was, after the Deku Tree talked, I was like, oh man. And then the more people that talked, I was like, you know what? They actually did a good job with this. They picked good people for the voice acting. The only caveat I will say, if Link talks, I will be mad.
Yes. Like, Nintendo, do what you will, shake up the formula. Link can't talk.
At least in the trailer he wasn't, so that's...
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
that or Nintendo was hiding Link talking from us in the trailers because they
Because
knew
no one, everyone
knew
be mad.
every fan in the world will have pitchforks ready at a moment's notice if Link is speaking.
Yeah, no, as long as Link doesn't talk, but I was really excited for that. It looks like they've put in elements from like Shadow of the Colossus. I don't know if you saw any of the gameplay from earlier, but there was that giant stone creature that he just stumbled upon and was like, "Oh shit, this thing's attacking me now." Like that's what I really like. I don't want to like know like, "Oh, I'm going to run across this thing right like at this point in the game all the time." I want to be surprised like, "Okay, there's this point on the map. I'm going to go all the way over there. I know that there has to be something over there they've been talking about in the story." Along the way, I want shit to be thrown at me that I am not expecting. A giant stone creature, like maybe it looks like Shadow Ganon is going to be great. All the monsters I saw.
Giant dragon Shadow Ganon.
Yes.
Thing. Yes, it looks amazing. What I'm really excited about with this, though, is, and this is something that they did really well in Twilight Princess, but it's more interactive combat. Do you remember in Twilight Princess where you'd pick up all the skills from the ancient hero?
Yes.
And then they tried to do the same thing in Skyward Sword with the motion controls, and we've already talked about that. So let's not go there again. Let's hope that they keep the combat interactive the same way that Twilight Princess was, because I still think the combat in Twilight Princess was probably the best of any Zelda game to date. And I really fucking hope they keep it up with this new one, because random combat encounters with fucking crazy Shadow of the Colossus enemies you've never seen with the kind of interactive combat from Twilight Princess, this game should by all means be the best Zelda game.
Yeah, I almost I remember the original trailer for this new one. I almost had a Dark Souls feel with some of that combat shit. That was hell yeah.
I remember this was something a lot of people didn't pick up in the original trailer, but there was a little bit of hitbox porn.
Oh,
in the
I
original
saw that
trailer.
maybe,
Yeah, like a la Dark Souls, where the enemy's sword fucking perfectly misses the hitbox on his arm by like this inch. And in most games, the hitboxes don't work like that. The hitbox is just an actual box.
Right.
And if the sword enters that box, you get hit. But Dark Souls has always been very good at this, where the physical and viewable limitations of the sword, that's the part that can hit you. And the viewable skin on your character, the frame of your character, that's where you can get hit. There's never been any kind of bullshit with hitboxes, and they've always been very good with that. And there was a scene in the original trailer, I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember when I watched it, I thought, holy shit, Nintendo, those hitboxes, don't do this to me, I'm going to explode.
Yeah, I remember there's a Reddit post when that came out, just everyone just like creaming themselves over how great of a hitbox thing that was.
I can't wait for this new game. It seems like it's going to take all of the greatest elements of Zelda in general, of the best Zelda games. We don't talk about the bad ones still. But if this game is a combination of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and done well, I'm going to be a happy camper.
And then there's other elements to it too that they've taken from Skyward Sword to a degree that I don't know if you guys know about, but like you know there's that regular blue tunic that's kind of the iconic one for Breath of the Wild, but you can also pick up like cold weather clothes, and you can pick up armor and different shields and different swords. And I assume eventually, because they have the Master Sword on the fucking videos and shit, that you're gonna get the Master Sword and that one's gonna be unbreakable. But you can pick up different weapons and shit, which is the most mind-blowing thing gameplay-wise that I have seen. I just can't even fathom, like, just like, oh, shit, my sword broke. Well, time to pick up an axe. Come on, motherfuckers.
That was one of my favorite things from Wind Waker, actually, was the fact that a lot of the enemies would drop their swords. Like, you remember you could pick up the Dark Nut swords?
Yeah.
And they would just one-shot everything, but then you had to get rid of them when you went to a new section. I hope they flesh that out a little bit more in the new game to where you can scavenge weapons from your enemies and carry them with you and keep using them.
They've shown that you can.
Yeah.
Like, if you drop a bokoblin and they drop an axe, you can pick that axe up and you can carry it around with you until it breaks, or you keep on repairing it. Like, and you can upgrade the weapon, I believe.
Almost like Fallout style?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's kind of what it seems like. Like, again, we won't know for sure until the game comes out, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to go into their inventory and pick it up, a la Elder Scrolls Fallout, but like it just drops onto the ground and you pick it up. And there's different mechanics for like cooking food so that you can build up health. It doesn't look like you can just like chop down grass and pick up hearts. It looks like you have to have a base somewhere in the world, no matter where it is, and you can cook food. And I know that there's one place that a lot of people in playtesting have picked, and it's like there's like a set stables where you can train horses and put them there. So I think that's going to be awesome.
That's actually something I really hope they don't overdo, because fucking around in an inventory has never really been a Zelda thing. Inventory's always been, this is your items, just jump in, pick one, jump out. I really hope the cooking, the weapons, all of that is still kept relatively streamlined.
Yeah.
Because a crazy, Dark Souls or Witcher-esque inventory system where when you press pause, you're in that inventory screen for a solid 15 minutes at least. Like you got shit to do.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope they avoid that in Zelda because it's never really been a Zelda thing.
Yeah. I'm wary of that. I don't think it's going to be as big a deal. I don't think they're going to have an encumbrance, like a weight limit.
Oh my god, fuck a weight limit. If they have a weight limit.
But,
you can't fast travel while you're carrying more than 3 sticks.
Yeah, that would be the worst. But yeah, so as far as Breath of the Wild goes, I'm incredibly, more than optimistic. I'm fairly certain that they've blown it out of the water.
Oh yeah.
Just because I've watched every time they do the Nintendo Treehouse and everything. I've seen the gameplay. I've seen how it works. And I am so fucking you can if there's a hill over there. It's a little too steep to run up. Well, time to climb it, and you can just fucking climb up fucking hills and mountains and shit. It's great.
You know that problem you always run into in Skyrim? Where you're trying to get to your destination, but there's a big fuck-off mountain in the way. So instead of walking around it and finding the proper road, you just try to go over it.
Yeah.
Which is what everybody does in every game. How long do you think you'll go in Breath of the Wild before that happens to you?
Well,
I'm hoping it's only 2 hours before I try to climb over my first mountain instead of going the right way.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that there are roads in Breath of the Wild.
No, but there's not roads, but there will be kind of fairly defined paths around large obstacles. Because in Skyrim, there's never a road that goes around the mountain, but there's always a path.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I actually think they're trying to make it as wild. See, this is what I think they're doing, because...
If that's the case, that would be awesome. If it is really the wild, yes.
See, that's what I think. I think, because in the most recent trailer, he says something about, let me tell you what happened 100 years ago. Given that one line, and the fact that it's all the fucking wild and everything, I will put money down that that this is a direct sequel to Wind Waker.
Oh, really?
Yes, I would put several $100s down. I am damn near certain. Just because because in Wind Waker, I haven't beaten Wind Waker, but I've played
enough of it to get
I've played through all of the parts, but I've never beaten it in sequence. But you can see dilapidated Hyrule Castle. This is broken down too. This is too. 100 years after the sea drains, what is there left? And that's why I'm saying Breath of the Wild is direct sequel to Wind Waker.
Yeah, I never actually thought about the whole sequel to that. That would be an interesting thing for that. I was going to jump back then to what you're saying about how just kind of more the... I want to say I was going back to specifically your climb over the mountains example in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost thinking it's going to be like, if you want to climb over that mountain, you're not going to just get blocked by an invisible wall. It'll let you over it. However, my biggest hope is you want to go over that mountain, there's some ice giant up there who's going to try to fight you to go over it.
Yes.
That is my dream.
I would be so happy with that. Though I have one major request, Nintendo, if you're listening. Fuck off with invisible walls. I just got off playing Final Fantasy 15, and there are invisible walls fucking everywhere. You can't climb over mountains in that game, because as soon as you get 3 feet up, there's an invisible wall. It ruins the exploration aspect of the game, and I think that is really what they're going for. So Nintendo, if you could just axe invisible walls entirely, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
With what Walt was saying, though, I was actually thinking the game might be a prequel to Wind Waker. The 100 years ago line, I wasn't thinking about that the way you are, but what I was thinking was that this is the Hyrule Basin that eventually does get flooded, and the tops of each mountain are going to be the islands that you visit in Wind Waker. Because that has the same kind of dilapidated Hyrule Castle that you find at the bottom of the ocean during that section.
See, so what I've noticed from all the trailers I've seen, you see different landmarks from several different Zelda games. There's you can very, very clearly in Twilight Princess in Hyrule in Castletown, there's this big fountain with a very iconic statue in the middle, and you can see that statue broken down on the in somewhere in Breath of the Wild.
So are you thinking this is like Ocarina of Time?
I think
Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild.
Well, actually no, because Wind Waker and Twilight Princess they've made the timeline.
Oh, yeah, they've made
that
the timeline,
everyone's
but
mad at.
the timeline has its own set of inconsistencies, so fuck that timeline.
Yeah, but what I will say with your theory, it wouldn't be a prequel because oh shit! I just had this. I just know that there's so many things that are that you see. Like there's the Temple of Time that it hasn't been confirmed as the Temple of Time.
Confirmed as it's the fucking Temple of Time.
But there's this very large building, right? And someone was climbing up it in a video, and someone sped up the audio, and the music was the Song of Time, slowed down, super slow, right? And like you can see the fucking castle town from Ocarina of Time. That's the one that Calamity Ganon is at, and then that fountain. But I think I'm certain it's going to be a sequel rather than a prequel.
We'll see what happens when it comes out, but what this really boils down to is we are, and everybody should be, hugely excited for Breath of the Wild. Like, I am buying a Switch day one specifically for that game, and then hopefully the other games are good too, so I don't feel like a dickhead for spending $300 or $360 rather, just for one game.
Yeah.
But this isn't a Zelda podcast, and we've only got a couple of minutes left, so we did want to touch on a couple of other topics here. My biggest point of complaint with the Switch as it's coming out is the online system. Nintendo has said that they're implementing an online system more similar to the way that PlayStation and Xbox do theirs.
Yeah.
And personally, I feel like that is more than long coming. We should have had this system for Nintendo products years and years and years ago, because holy shit, the Wii U still uses friend codes. What is that nonsense?
Yeah.
The reason I'm not playing Pokemon anymore and I'm not trading and breeding with people is because you have to use friend codes, and that's so fucking arbitrary.
It's really annoying to work with, yeah.
It's super irritating. So I'm hugely hoping that when Nintendo does this, and it's going to be a paid service, we know about that, and it's fine. Every other major console does a paid service for their online. I'm not too torn up about that. I'm just really hoping they rework that system to go based off of something like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, where you use usernames, where you have real online statuses, and you can actually interact with other people.
Yeah, if their online systems, what they have currently, I'm not paying for it. However, if they get it just even, an older Xbox Live system, I'd be happy to have that sort of system in place. Yeah,
I would be so down for that because Nintendo's current online system is like they came up with it back in 2002 and never updated it.
Yeah. I've never been as much of a fanboy as I am. That system is just kind of not good. I think that there are issues even with the new one. Like you have to download an app to use the voice chat, and that might be addressed fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But as far as the online goes, that's not my main concern with the Switch. I think that what should be focused on is the games, what games they can produce, what games, and the quality of those games,
Yes.
third party, all those kinds. Make it something people want.
And really, I hope Nintendo kind of uses this new online service to supplement their games,
Yeah.
and not so much become the defining factor.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo's never gone with that philosophy like the new Call of Duty or Battlefield games where it's just online.
Yeah.
Nintendo has always very much been a first player kind of game, single player kind of game. That's always been their shtick.
Or party games.
Or party games, exactly. And that's the other thing I'm hoping for a lot with the Nintendo Switch is going to be maybe another Mario Party, because the most recent Mario Party for the Wii U was kind of shitty. That was the one that like they were all driving together in a car and nobody really liked it.
Yeah, Mario Party 10, the one that everybody hates.
Yeah, we've kind of entered a generation of Nintendo where they're just putting out games that we don't really want to talk about. This most recent one, that the Zelda Spirit Tracks game, Nintendo just for a while here was putting out stuff like, we don't talk about that. We're not going to talk about the Wii U 5 years from now because the Wii U is going to be regarded as a big failure. Even though it wasn't their worst selling console, it's going to be their worst regarded console.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't mess anything up there.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I mean, we'll be talking about the Wii U for a long time. Not in a good light.
Let's say laughing about the Wii U for a long time.
We'll be laughing about the Wii U. But there are other things that I think that the Switch will be talked about for a long time, and there are two reasons for that, good and bad. Either good, it is what saves Nintendo. And that's what I'm going with, because it looks just bad to the bone. It looks really good, like, all around. Or it will be the fact that no one has faith in Nintendo anymore, and it will be its last hardware.
And I really don't think that's the case.
I think
that's not the
I think
case.
everybody is still in a mindset of Nintendo's made a couple of missteps recently, but we all still think they can return to the glory. The
Everyone wants them to
N64,
succeed, is
the
big thing.
GameCube, that kind of real, I guess the epitome of Nintendo was in those systems. Super
Yeah, I'd
Nintendo,
say so.
N64, and GameCube.
Those three.
Starting with the Wii U, they made a few missteps. They the whole, focusing on casual things wasn't a huge deal, but it kind of pulled them in a different direction that nobody was expecting. More than anything, I'm just hoping that the Switch brings Nintendo back up to top form.
Yes.
I would be very happy if Nintendo could come out and be the same Nintendo that I loved back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But when it comes to Nintendo, I think that regardless of whether they make hardware or not, their games are going to live on. I can't imagine who takes them, but I don't. Nintendo, if they did not make hardware anymore, they would give it to Sony. They would.
Yeah.
They would not go to Xbox. Just because Xbox is kind of what made gaming what it is today, kind of a more angry.
Yeah,
more,
that's a conversation for another day.
That's a conversation for another day. And speaking of, I think that we ought to wrap it up here. Thank everyone for. I want to thank everyone for listening with us. If you made it this far in, join us next week where we'll talk about other new and exciting things, or old and exciting things. Who knows? Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. All right. I don't know. Really, this joke right off before me.
Well, I was gonna let Chris kind of let himself out there, but just a final wrap up.
Walt did a good job to wrap it up, and where I go with this redundant.
Past that, thank you to everybody in NC, the people who are submitting topics and questions for us to talk about. Not very helpful this week, admittedly, but one of these weeks we'll have a bullshit session where we just go through the stupid questions that have been submitted and laugh about them for a while. But past this, I had a request today to end off the podcast with a thought-provoking question for everybody to think of. This is for you, Arcady. You're our favorite Canadian guy. Does Bruno Mars is gay? Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your drive to work or whatever you're doing right now. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
NC, 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 yes sirree. NC, 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 yes sirree. NC.